Your dad tried that. And it took him down.
Yeah, but you know he didn't do that, right, Mom?
No. Ghost was a lot of things. But he wasn't stupid.
All right, but I learned from his mistakes. All right, they're lessons for me.
Tasha St Patrick's return at the end of Ghost Season 3 really does open up different opportunities in the Power universe, which can potentially branch over from Power Book 2 Ghost over to Power Book 4 Force, connecting the two worlds in ways we couldn't have foreseen.
We are day ones. We're the only ones left.
As she came face to face with Tommy at the end of Season 3, they squashed the bad blood between them and now find themselves on the same page. Although the St. Patrick's family are a family which has faced turbulent times in terms of lies, manipulation and betrayal, Tommy and Tasha knew after all that they've lost, they have to stick together, otherwise they risk joining Ghost 6 feet deep. Now Tasha's strength extends to her role as a mother more than anything. She remains fiercely protective over her children, which was showcased in how she tried to protect them from the life that she and Ghost lived, to shooting Monet and Diana in Season 3. And this is what Naturi Naughton had to say recently on her future role in Power Book 2 Ghost. But you know me and you know Power. I actually shot Season 4 pregnant with my daughter. I have a 5-year-old. I went back to work after about 8 weeks. My baby is 5 weeks, almost 6. I have a strong feeling, and I'll just say that shortly you're going to see more of Tasha on Ghost. Now in the rest of this video, we're going to be breaking down Tasha's return to Ghost, her relationship with Tariq St Patrick by taking it down memory lane in a character analysis type of breakdown, which will lead us to why Tasha is set up to shake up Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4. Now, from the beginning, we see Tasha's love for her children through the way she shields them from the harsh realities of her and Ghost's dangerous lifestyle. Shielding them from the old neighborhood in which they grew up was done to protect them, to give them every opportunity to build a better life and future. Both Tasha and Ghost wanted to provide them with a different path, but the breakdown of Ghost and Tasha's marriage was the catalyst which would alter Tariq's perception of his parents. From getting into fights at school to stealing Angela's gun, Tariq was changing before our very own eyes. This was a kid who was losing his innocence, and it was hard for Tariq and Raina to understand why Ghost left to be with Angela.
You make us meet Angela, and you move in with her, and you don't even talk to us about it. Like, what kind of father does that?
Tariq was exposed to adult matters which forced him to confront harsh realities which was far beyond his years, and Ghost didn't cover himself with glory either with the way he handled the situation. Tariq also struggled with the absence of his father, who was focused on building a legit empire. This meant he wasn't always around to guide and mentor him as a father should be, although I do think Ghost would argue him working was his way of providing a better future for his kids. Now, Sean Stark was Tariq's best friend during the early stages of Power, but when he met his tragic fate at the hands of his father, who would later become a mentor to Tariq, Tasha and Ghost had to make the difficult decision to shield Tariq from the truth to try and preserve his innocence. But in trying to protect Tariq and preserve his innocence, all they were doing was teaching Tariq how to lie.
So, you want me to lie?
Later in Power, Tasha finds herself walking the tightrope of having already lost Raina St Patrick, which is a constant reminder of the world that they live in and how unforgiving it can be. But she also had to grapple with the dilemma of preparing Tariq for a world that she wanted to shield him from.
But you ain't never gonna stop pushing weight because that's who you are. So I don't see any other way.
Knowing that this was a path that Tariq had chosen and would walk it with or without Tasha, she had no choice but to teach Tariq the game. Which brings me perfectly onto the conversation that they had at the end of Season 3 of Ghost.
Look, I just need money. You know that power that makes you literally untouchable. That shit that no man has.
Now, we've spoken about addiction before, where it comes in different forms for different people. Some find solace at the bottom of a bottle, some turn to drugs. But addiction doesn't necessarily have to be in the form of alcohol or drugs. After rewatching Power and recently Power Book 2 Ghost, which I do give a lot of background, context and analysis through various Twitter threads, it's clear that Tariq has the same obsession that his father once did. Tariq wants power, he wants control. He wants a status that makes himself untouchable. Ghost was someone who created an empire in the drug business. He created a legitimate empire, and the next step was political power, which would have really made him untouchable, invincible. In essence, Tariq is looking for the same status but in the drug trade after the loss of his trust fund, because having one foot in the real world and one foot in the drug trade didn't quite work out. Although he did meet RSJ, who's a rich, successful and a well-connected businessman who is an exception. An example of what can be achieved if you don't let others define your future. As Ghost once said in Power, he had to always transform everybody's expectations of James St Patrick. On the surface, he was a successful nightclub owner, but he maintained a dual identity as a street thug and a drug kingpin. He had to change people's perceptions of him by presenting himself as an upstanding businessman and a pillar of the community, while keeping his dark side hidden. Now that's what Tariq has had to do at every single turn on his journey in Power Book 2 Ghost. He's had to transform expectations. So with the trust fund and Western holdings being no more, what exactly is left for Tariq St Patrick? Civilian or gangster? He needs to make a choice because it didn't end well for Ghost, who was both, always trying to escape his dual identity. Tariq now wants to be untouchable like Nomar in the drug trade after realizing just how powerful she is and what she's capable of. But Tasha knows the path that Tariq is about to go down. She was there during Ghost's rise, but also because she had a very similar conversation with Tariq before. This was a throwback to the conversation that they had late in Power, where Tasha had no choice but to teach him the game. But running a global empire requires a different kind of finesse, and Tariq is a long way away from being the head of a global empire, or anywhere close to Nomar's level. This is why Tasha said if he's going to do this, he needs to do it right. He needs to get closer to Nomar, learn the ropes, then he can take what she has and then bring Tasha on board. Now of course, that plan was thrown out the window through Diana and Drew's betrayal, and Effie going straight to Nomar to position herself closer, making a move that Tariq should have saw coming. He then found himself having to be saved by Brayden on the run, where Season 4 will most likely pick up with them having to regroup, rebuild, and figure out a strategy to hit back. But Ghost once said sometimes the best response is no response, let them wait in fear, and that's what I think Tariq should do, but I do think he needs Tasha's help. I do think he needs to add Tasha to his organization. With the beef being squashed with Tommy, Tasha doesn't have to look over her shoulder anymore, and we all know Ghost moves at a very quick pace, and if they wanted to bring Tasha out of Witsec, I'm sure they could find a way, and by the sounds of it, she will be playing more of a role in Season 4. So will she be there for Tariq as he rebuilds? I think Tariq does need an OG. He needs an old head to take control over this situation, which I do think is okay for the storyline to go that way, because in a way it's telling us that Tariq isn't invincible, where he can basically find a way out of every single situation by himself. He needs help, he needs Tasha, and he needs to learn from others who have been in and around this criminal world from different perspectives.
You're the only person I can trust.
Now Tasha had a heavy influence, and I know there are a few perspectives where Tasha wasn't exactly on board with Ghost's vision, but Tasha was there as Ghost built his empire. She was also there when Ghost found himself in trouble in the drug game, and where he couldn't count on Tommy, he turned to Tasha for advice. She was the only person he could trust. She served as Ghost Rock and guided some of his decision making. Some examples that spring to mind are not icing Liliana and rewarding her loyalty instead, which in turn would send a message to the rest of the couriers that loyalty would be rewarded. She also advised him on the move that he made with the Primeras and taking the Serbs' territory. During even more challenging times, she took control over certain situations. So some of the ways in which I think Tasha could help Tariq rebuild his organization is by taking control, helping Tariq rebuild and guiding him on how to handle certain situations, just like we saw her do with Ghost, and also with Tariq in Season 1 with Effie. I do think Tariq is in a position where he does need a bit of guidance and someone to tell him on how Ghost's operation was run, and how Ghost handled certain situations with different Primeras, but also where he went wrong. Sometimes the best thing to do in life is to learn from other people's mistakes, so you don't make the same, and that's how you become a better version of who you're aspiring to be, which is exactly what Tasha can help Tariq to do, avoid the same mistakes. There are also other small details she can help with, like how Ghost and Tommy used to have dead drops all over the city, just in case things went sideways. For example, if they found themselves in the middle of a war, cornered, with their back against a wall, they would have different points of access to guns and money in different places. And now that Brayden and Tariq find themselves in a war with the Tejadas, Effie and Nomar, I think it would be very wise for Tasha to have Tariq and Brayden place some dead drops around the city, just in case. Small details like this when you're in a drug trade in the middle of a war could really be the difference between survival and death. Now here's something which I think we may have already seen a foreshadow to already. It was a well-known fact that Tasha used to study accounting, but she then fell pregnant and married Ghost, where she then left her studies behind. Although when we saw her return in Season 2 episode 10, it did seem like she was keeping herself occupied in Witsec by finishing her accounting course, and let's not forget, she was a number cruncher for Ghost and later Tommy. So if Brayden and Tariq are going to be rebuilding their drug organization, well they need somewhere to clean their cash, and who better to help them clean their money than Tasha. Now something Tasha wasn't exactly hands-on with in Power was the day-to-day operation of the drug side of the business, dealing with Primeras and Connects, but that's not to say she can't hold her own and do that for Tariq in Season 4. So could she help Tariq set up an organization beneath him, a chain of command, and maybe even smooth things over with 2-Bit? For Tariq to be successful and reach the level of someone like Nomar, he needs a network and he needs connections, which he does have to a certain extent. There's Davis McLean in law, a man with influence with Rashad Tate. He may have a crucial ally in Obi, but that's not enough. He needs to create a sophisticated network where he can take himself off the streets and operate just like a ghost, just like his father used to. But as I mentioned before, he is a long way away from achieving anywhere near to what Ghost did, but having Tasha by his side will certainly help. And I think it would do Tariq a world of good just taking a step back and letting somebody else make the decisions. Let's also not forget who Tasha will have a direct line to as well, Tommy Egan, and this crossover between Ghost and Force is in full effect, so if they need to call Tommy for whatever reason, or vice versa, it's game time. But that brings me to the end of this mini analysis for Tasha St Patrick, her return, and how she could help Tariq rebuild his organization going forward. So drop me all your thoughts down below on Tasha playing more of a role in season 4. What impact do you think she's gonna have? And will she help Tariq rebuild his organization and help him fight this war? Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.